What's up, guys? This is Boondocks here, and right now I'm going to be showing off my Maya is a bitch build. And basically, Maya is a bitch that uses the bitch. And the cool thing about the bitch is that as you fire, you actually increase your accuracy pretty drastically. And it happens very quickly, to the point that after almost a second of firing, you're at maximum accuracy. It's pinpoint and better than most sniper rifles. So I take the right sizing bitch because it actually has the most damage, and we're looking for the crit damage on it and not so much the burn effects or anything like that. And the reason I'm going to take a fire and corrosive is because you naturally gain increased damage against fleshy and armored targets respectively. So that's why I'm taking these. I'm also going to take this extra right sizing bitch just to show you how a scoped version works. Normally, instead of using that, I would have a grog nozzle. Now, the idea behind the grog nozzle is in case you do take enough damage that you have to run for cover, you could just throw out a homing storm front, switch over to your grog nozzle, and get up to full health almost instantly. It's a trick I used when I first leveled up my Zero. So, for shields, I take the antagonist. As usual, the reason I like the antagonist isn't for the shield capacity, but the fact that it has a 49% damage reduction. On top of that, you have a 50% chance to reflect your bullets back at your enemies, which do considerable amount of damage, and it has a chance of slagging that enemy. All in all, it's a really good shield. For class mods, I take the legendary cat. This gives me an increase to SMG damage, and the accuracy decrease is negligible thanks to the passive of the bitch. On top of that, we get the Mind's Eye skill up. This is the only legendary class mod that gives it, other than the Siren class mod, which wouldn't help us beyond the Mind's Eye. So because of that, we're going to take the Mind's Eye, Wreck, and Reaper for a ridiculous amount of burst damage and crit damage, as well as Accelerate and Foresight, just to help scale into all of our weapon abilities as well. For Relic, we're going to take the Bone of the Ancients. Obviously, if I was going to be going up against armor targets, I'd want to have the corrosive version, not the fire damage version. Either way, it gives you an increase against whatever target you're up against and a pretty good cooldown reduction. It's a pretty standard relic. So, as far as our skills go, our harmony tree is what we're going to max out. The reason we do this is just for sustain. This way, you don't have to worry about trying to heal yourself up because the harmony tree will do it for you. First of all, we're going to take Mind's Eye. That gives you the crit damage. So now, whenever you're getting crits, which is really easy with the bitch, you're going to be able to kill an enemy almost instantly. Then, for Sweet Release, this is more of a team-focused ability where whenever you kill a phase-locked enemy, you're going to release life orbs that will heal up your teammates or yourself. Now, Wreck. This is a huge damage buff. Whenever you phase lock an enemy, all other enemies will take extra damage from you because you gain increased fire rate and damage. If you kill the phase locked enemy, it's not that big of a deal, but it's sometimes better to spread around the damage first. I always take res whenever I play my Maya, just in case I do get in a team with her. This will allow you to insta-res your teammates and a team player. I also like Elated. This helps you and your team heal up whenever you phase lock a target. I then put 5 points in a life tap. Just in case your shields do go down, this will help you sustain through any damage because you're going to have lifesteal. Then I'm going to take Scorn. Scorn is one of my favorite abilities. You shoot a giant ball of slag out from your hand and it travels down in a straight line, slagging all enemies within range, and the range is pretty big. The trick is you want to try to shoot it down the middle of a room and not directly at an enemy, because the first thing that it hits it's going to explode on, and that could stop it short. What I've noticed with the slag from Scorn is that it lasts for a very long time, and it's almost 100% chance, so I love it. Over here in the motion tree, we're going to max out Accelerate, just to give ourselves some increased gun damage, and the bullet speed's nice as well. Ward will help us increase our shields, and therefore our tank ability, and also decrease our recharge time, or delay time. Therefore, whenever it does drop, it'll come back that much quicker. I then take Suspension. Suspension synergizes very well with Wreck and Elated to help you kill enemies and stay alive. I then use Converge. Converge is only 1 point, and it pulls all enemies near your phase-locked target towards them. This is a really good disruption ability, and sets them up for increased chain reaction chance. Then I take Quicken just to help get our phase locks off more often, and therefore do more damage. Over here in the Cataclysm Tree, I'm going to put 5 points into Foresight for an increased mag size. This lets you spam your bitch for a very long time and get continuous crits, or keep readjusting so that way you can get onto the crit area and guarantee that you kill your target that much quicker. Flicker, kind of pointless, all things considered. Feel free to move the points into Immolate. I would skip Helios. It's really just to move down to get Chain Reaction, and then finally Reaper. The reason I like Chain Reaction is if you shoot a phase-lock target, you have a chance for those shots to ricochet into an enemy. Since we're not using the B-Hawk, it's not that effective, but I still like it over most of the other abilities here. You could technically spread a point in each one of these, but it's kind of irrelevant. The reason I like Reaper is you do a massive increased damage against targets that are over half the health. So that lets you burn through them that much quicker. And you already get the 5 points into it to get a grand total of plus 80%. So let's go show how the bitch actually works. Well, here we go. If you notice, the weapon sway is actually kind of high on it because it has such a low accuracy, plus it has a accuracy decrease on it already at negative 26% weapon accuracy. But as soon as you start to fire, there's a sway and gone, and it's almost pinpoint accurate. Look at the grouping. Those two right there are from when I first started firing. Now, you can get a scope on it. Now, the issue I have with the scope is, while, yeah, you can hit targets more accurately at a distance, the scopes that come on these have this weird triangle setup. So when you fire, you have to try to get the middle of the triangle directly on them. It doesn't have a crosshair or a dot type system like the Maliwan scope, where all you do is put that little circle on the target and you get the hits. So for that reason, I typically use the Maliwan unless the enemies are very far away. So, wow, they're all over there this time. That's kind of weird. That usually doesn't happen. And boom, see those crits? As soon as you get some crits on them, they die almost instantly. The cool thing too is whenever you have an enemy phase locked, it makes getting crit shots on them very, very easy. Yeah, that's not good. I'll just shoot him in the ass. The reason getting the crits are easier is because they're not moving. The only time it becomes a detriment, though, is when their head is actually like on the back. Sometimes your phase lock can position an enemy so that it's harder to get on their head, because they'll be like twisted around and pointed away from you. But it's something you can work around, and it's not that big of a detriment. And it doesn't happen every time, so you kind of learn to just deal with it. Plus, when you do have an enemy phase locked, your wreck damage is going to be so high, they almost insta-die anyway. So, it's not that big a deal. Okay, I don't feel like dealing with the lunatics or the psychos. That's the one time that this build can get a little bit weak, is when they rush in on you. It can actually become a little bit trickier. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how to fire off Scorn. What you want to do is shoot it above their heads and off to the side, and that way you guarantee that everyone gets hit. Armor target, so I switch over real quick and crit him to death. If you look at how long that slag is, that's from my Scorn that I launched out, and they are all still slagged. It has a crazy, crazy long time. So, it's pretty clear, if I do say so myself, how beneficial this can actually be. The amount of damage that you can put out, I need to get crits on him. The amount of damage that you can put out as a bitch using, crit getting Siren are ridiculous. I mean, right there, one crit against a slagged enemy and he died. You pretty much never see that amount of damage come out. Unless you're B-hawking, and even then, the nice thing about this too is, on like a B-hawk, you don't have to be careful about getting hit by your enemy. If you get caught out in the open, it's not a huge deal, because you can still do enough damage to them that they will die. So, with that in mind, feel free to just kind of walk out there and guarantee that you get those hits. The antagonists usually, don't quote me on always, but it can usually keep you alive long enough that you'll be able to burst your enemies. Oh my god, he wasn't even slagged. Just insta-death from the crit. And I want them all slagged. I shot that a little low. It shouldn't be a big deal. Only got a few crits on him. So like right here, if I wanted to, this would be a good time to switch over to the longer scope, but as you can see, it's really not even that big of a difference. And you can't see incoming enemies from the sides. So all in all, you have to make a judgment call as to whether or not it's going to benefit you that much. Usually I say no, and I just try to go for the standard bitch. The bitch really is devastating. I'm kind of upset it took me so long to really appreciate the abilities of this weapon. Just gonna kill the lunatic. I hate lunatics, the ironclad lunatics, the most, in all honesty, so I try to kill them as quick as possible. I take priority over them because you can't reflect melee hits, so that takes away half the benefit from your antagonist. I mean, yeah, you'll still get the damage. Holy shit. Just look at the damage reduction, but oh man, that's not good. That's not good. So, right there, as you can see, they were able to rush in on me and then very easily get a kill. Or not a kill, very easily knock me down by almost all my life, just because my antagonist can't block those types of damages. It just reduced the damage, which is why I didn't get down from getting both melee struck and blown up by a grenade. So, just kill this last guy real quick. No reason to leave this place undone. And that's the Maya's a bitch build. Just get those crits, guys. It's a lot of fun. It's a different playstyle for her, because you're not just sitting back and bursting an enemy down with random bullshit. You actually kind of take your time, line up those shots, and you're rewarded for it. It's like sniping with, say, Zero, but a lot easier, and the fact that you can just constantly keep firing and readjusting allows you to guarantee that you get the crits. So, good luck, guys. Have fun, and peace.